Hello, beautiful people. How are you? It's been a minute since I've been on video, and I'm going to give it a go, and we'll see how far we get. How are you doing? I just did this really, it was a part of just a beautiful mini meditation, and it was so nice to be guided because I feel like I'm often in the guiding seat, and it was so beautiful to be guided. And it just was a reminder of how we need this kind of support now more than ever. And it was a meditation that was really the theme of it was connecting to our soul, which is, really the path that I'm really focusing on right now is really speaking to our soul, going directly to the soul. Things are shifting so much that, this kind of self-analysis, which it's not to say that there aren't aspects of it that are really useful and helpful to build self-awareness, but it just feels like we're in a time where it is so much about just resonance, frequency, energy, feeling. It's without words, actually. And it's so powerful when we connect to this space and place within us. Because what I saw in my meditation was just seeing myself through the eyes of my soul. And how when we're in our human self, it's so easy to get into this kind of, this is how if you're watching the video, it's like we get into this kind of bubble where we're looking down, kind of down and in. And when I was looking at myself from that bird's eye perspective that the soul offers us, it was like, wow, there's so much more expansion. Like if we could just lift our head up and open our eyes and see more peripherally and see more, when you look at something multidimensionally, it expands like an accordion, right? In all directions. And there's just the feeling of that is like, I can breathe in and I can exhale. And when we look from the view and the eyes of the soul, there's so much compassion for our experience. Whereas from our human self, I was laughing at the end because we had a little bit of a chat and I just said, it was so lovely to connect to the gentleness of my soul because I've kind of been in an argument with it recently of like, it's really hard down here. Like, this ain't easy. Right. And so to be in that feeling space, because it is a feeling that is so tangible and visceral when you connect to it, that is unlike any other feeling that you're going to get on this planetary field. You're just not going to get that same kind of like, even when I think of, love for your child or for your family or love of, nature, a part of nature that you love, there is something that is on another level of refinement when you connect to the love of your soul. So this is a long intro, but I want to just share this feeling, this energy, this frequency of just this gentleness. That's all today. I don't want to go into too much of a story. It's just how do we transmit and receive. That's what we're doing right now. We've gone past the autumn equinox and now we're in the state of receptivity. We're not in the outward yang of summer. We're going more inward towards the shedding and letting go and then into winter. So how do we receive and bring in all of the messages and the codes that we need to kind of almost gestate and root and ground, so that we can go through our own internal revolution. I was going to say evolution, but it's interesting that revolution came through. That's very interesting. So let's dive in and see where it takes us. This is Corinne Bloom, and you're listening to Raw Conversations. So I want to begin by just acknowledging that it's not the easiest place to be right now, right here on this planet. And yet, the way we're learning that the way that we perceive things, ourselves, others, life, what's happening, the way that we perceive it all is what creates our reality. It's what creates our feeling state. And I think, as I spoke about 5 years ago, more, 5.5 years ago, we continue to be at this choice point between, do I choose how would love show up in this moment? Or how does fear react in this moment? And we keep on being shown and given opportunities to make this choice. And it's not always easy. It's really not always easy. And I like to look at micro and macro, because I think when we get too much into the macro of in this realm, I'm not talking about the soul expansion, but in this realm, when we get into the macro of the world stage, it's very easy to almost take on this kind of alter ego. I don't know why that word comes through, but this kind of this identity. People get this identity that comes through online, and there's righteousness in that, and there's something. It's like the image that comes through is like, we're puffing up these big puffy suits that literally you could just put a pin and it would it would just deflate, right? Because it's not based on anything. And when we draw it into the micro and into our personal life, there are so many moments in our day where we can catch when we're being judgmental, whether it's to ourselves, our family, our friends, our coworkers, the driver on the road. There are so many opportunities that we can catch ourselves going into that judgment, that separation, that going against something, right? And if you start to pay attention to those little moments, and the first point of reflection is, how does it make me feel? Because normally the response to that is, it's not going to make you feel good, right? If we go to the simplicity of good, neutral, and bad as just a feeling state, most likely you're not going to feel good when you have the awareness of it. So then you amplify that onto the world stage, where judgments and opinions are so loud, right? They're so loud, they're so big, they're so, puffed up, right? Feel what that feels like, whether you're doing it or observing it or in the maelstrom of it. Like, feel what that feels like. And the reason why I'm beginning here is because when you get to feel, especially when something doesn't feel nice and good to the body, because we do like to feel nice, right? We do like to feel good and happy and well. But when we really can start to articulate and feel into and have a language for when we don't feel good, through certain emotional states of being and through certain perceptions that trigger a certain emotional state of being, we start to cultivate this intelligence within ourselves that then we can feel the juxtaposition to that of when we're going into a space of love, into the soul space that is so soft and gentle and powerful. Don't get me wrong, it's not weak. It's not weak at all. It's not the kind of new age, you're a piece of like lettuce, right? That's just going to be carried off in the wind. It's strong. It's powerful. There's a warrior-like energy to it, but it is the most loving, compassionate, soft, gentle, present, consistent, stable, loving, 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 loving energy. And, I personally have been in this nearly 2-month cycle, not quite, of going through a lot of different things, and having the external world of my reality still not gelling or coming into form. And so that's taken me through the waves. I've been surfing all the waves of just the different emotions that brings, the oscillating from faith to not having faith. And I don't mean religious faith. I mean faith in myself, in my life, in my soul, in source, in why I'm here, why we're all here, right? And so there's this expansion, contraction, ebb, flow, the inhalation, the exhalation. And it's easy to kind of get like that first vision where it's easy to kind of come down and into our lives here, just here, right? And even though I meditate every morning, or I say sitting with, being with myself, and that does tap me into that state of alignment and expansion. There was something so beautiful about really having the dedicated space and time and to be guided through really connecting to the way our soul sees us, the way we see our soul, the way that, that beyond 360-degree view of existence can come in and just imbue you with this loving gentleness, this softness that all of a sudden makes all of the rest like. And I don't mean that in a transcendental way. I mean that like when you get into the purity of the essence of who you are and what source, the original source is, that loving, compassionate, creative, infinite energy that cannot be extinguished ever. It's not that nothing else matters, because it does matter to us in this human form. Like it is real for us here, right? Even if it's an illusion, it is real for us here. But it's just like blanketed in this beautiful warmth that says it's okay. Like when you are in a state of love, which is just who you are, it's not something outside of you, it's just who you are, everything is okay. And when we drop into the human mind that goes, oh, but I need to do this and I need to do that and I need to get this done and I have to deal with that and this is causing me stress and this is causing me anxiety and this isn't right and this is unfair, and the whole story of that. And that's part of being human. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But the soul perspective can say, and it's still all okay. It's still all okay, because it's not about the stories and the fragments and the this and that and the other. It's about the feeling state. And so as I said in the beginning, what we're being invited into right now is beyond analysis. It's beyond the words even. And it's purely into a state of being, into a state of stillness. When we're in a state of stillness, that gives us the opportunity to choose to shift gears into a different frequency. And then when we shift gears into a different frequency, we shift into a different state. And that state gives us a different perspective. And that perspective changes our reality. And that change of reality shifts our timeline. So there is a kind of, even though nothing is linear in existence, just only in this time and space, there is this kind of progression, you could say. Steps, if you want to use those words, right? Like it's kind of all at once, but if I were to break it down, those would be the steps. And so there's something so potent and powerful that literally 15 minutes, just 15 minutes of being guided back into relationship and into harmony with our soul, it changes completely the fabric of your being in this very moment. From the beginning of that 15 minutes to the end of that 15 minutes, it was like, I remember who I am again. And I think we need to do this now more than ever, because the external world will get louder, will get more chaotic, will get more divisive, will create the illusion that you don't have choice, will create the illusion that you're not a loving, compassionate being, will create the illusion that we're separate. But when you drop into the feeling state, all is remembered. All is remembered. It's there. It's nothing that you need to go out and achieve and do this course and do that and go to the ashram for a month. Like, sure, all of that can be tools to help reconnect, to remember. but it's already there. I've been talking about it for ages because it's just the simple truth. Truth is very simple. It's just challenging sometimes for us to tap into it when we've been so mired in the gunk of illusion and lies about who we truly are, right? So, like, if you were just to take a moment, and the fastest way, of course, is to come into your heart. And the fastest way to come into your heart is through acceptance. Like, oh, okay, I'm feeling like this right now. Okay. How would your soul hold you in that? How would the light hold you in that? And even if you can't feel it in this moment, the intention to just allow yourself to receive it, receive it, receive it. Might be in this moment, might be 2 hours from now, might be 2 days from now. But outside of time, space, it doesn't matter, right? Everything, everywhere, all at once. But set the intention that I deserve to receive the light and love of my soul. I deserve to receive the light and love of Source. I deserve to receive the light and love of all of my guides, my angels, my ancestors, and every single person that I am here with, and every other single soul that I'm here with. I think this planet suffers so much from feeling so alone. And I heard a kind of interesting perspective, and for some maybe this will be too far out, so it's okay. Take it or leave it as resonates, right? But I encourage an open mind and an open heart. But somebody had this kind of perspective that the earth herself has felt very disconnected from the universe, has felt like she's on her own, like has been in that kind of internal looking down space. And in that feeling alone, feeling very separate, even from like the other planets. And so this person was saying that this interstellar object, yet to be determined, of Three Eye Atlas, is reminding, it's like bringing a message of consciousness that it's like, you're not alone. You're not alone. You are part of a much greater system. You are one of the threads of this whole huge tapestry. Like I can see the quantum waves when I go into the visual of it. That is all of existence and all of consciousness and all of creation from the source point and infinitely out. And to rein it back in, I really was like, wow, so if the planet has felt alone and disconnected, no wonder we also feel alone and disconnected, because we are inherently connected to the earth. Even though we are made of stardust, we are also of the earth, because the earth is cosmic herself, right? And so as these energies are coming in, as these codes are coming in, it's the reminder of, you're not alone. You're not alone. We've been suffering this loneliness and this separation, the illusion of separation, for so long. And in this remembrance, we are remembering we are not alone, we're not separate, we're not disconnected, we are a part of everything. Now, from that perspective of the soul that says, no matter those stories and all the things that you have to do and the dramas and whatever, the pains and the sufferings and the challenges, it's all still okay. And there's this loving, unconditional loving that's like, I accept you for all that you are, as you are right now. The path of mastery is, how do we love our enemies, our perceived enemies? How do we see the divinity in all things and in all beings? Can we remember that when something is in such a dark And dark means that the light they've forgotten their light. And when you forget your light, you also forget love. And when you forget love, you go into fear. And when you go into fear, you forget that you're connected to all things, because you shrink in and shrink down, and you go into survival. And at its most shadow form of that, the ugliness or the evil of a being comes through, right? But that initial spark was of light that was lost, forgotten, lost, disconnected from, in a way you could say. But there's always the return. There's always the return. And the way that you can know that there's always a return is, no matter how chaotic your life is, no matter how far removed in a way you are from yourself, there's always this umbilical cord that is connected to your being and your soul and source itself. And the way that you can feel that is you literally close your eyes and you come into stillness. And, again, maybe sometimes we need that guidance to just bring in that transmission of just love and acceptance and light and peace and connectivity and oneness and harmony. And when I say all of those things, I can still see all of the, when I close my eyes and I'm seeing the vision, I can still see the wars. I can still see the arguments. I can still see it's like tar. That's how I see it. It's almost like sticky tar. So when I expand into that light and into that vision, that it's like it's all still okay, it's not saying that it's like, oh, it's all puppy dogs and rainbows and roses and, it includes and holds and embraces everything, because love is the ultimate alchemist. And so we cannot deny what's happening. We cannot ignore it, but we can absolutely alchemize it by our perspective of it, and therefore our state of being within it, and therefore the way that we choose to respond to it. And if you feel helpless right now with everything that's going on in the world, please do not forget that your state of being is immeasurably powerful. When you can connect into that state of peace within yourself, you have no idea how that exponentially emanates from your being, like it's the sun pulsing, those kind of light codes. Your being is made of light, and it's charged by the sun, and it equally is sending out this. It's equally sending that. So what do you choose to send out? Are you sending out these kind of pulses of love and compassion and peace and acceptance and gentleness and harmony? Or are you coming at it in this very, that kind of knife cutting, hard lines, daggering energy that creates further separation and further pain and further suffering? Yesterday, the word that came through, or the question that came through, is, when are we going to stop hating? Whether it's hating yourself, whether it's hating a family member, whether it's hating someone online, whether it's hating someone on the world stage, whether it's hating God's source itself. When are we going to stop hating? And that's up to us. That's a choice point. That's a choice point. And I'm not saying it's easy. There are a lot of things that we could hate right now. There really is. But go back to the beginning. How does it make you feel? Is it worth it? Is it worth hating if it makes you feel pained and disconnected from your own heart and soul and source? Or is there a way to weave in love and compassion and the essence of who you truly are into something that is really sticky and difficult? And yes, it takes patience and skill and humility. But what if we set the intention to weave that love in as best as we could, as best as we can? How would that change everything? How would that soften everything? That's what we need right now. It's like soften, soften. It's so hard. It's so hard out there, right? Soften. So begin by even, I felt like in this connection to my soul, it's like, oh, this softening, like I've been in a battle with it. Like, okay, come into I felt her, I'll just use her, even though, whatever, but her gentleness. I'm not sure if this is recording anymore. I just want to bring you into the invitation then for today. Firstly, the message that wants to come through is remember that you are loved. And even if you can't remember, you are loved. You are loved. You are held. And if you're able to lift your chin and look up and open your heart, open your throat chakra, open the crown chakra, open your being to receive. We need to come into stillness in order to receive all that which is around us already, waiting to be in communication with us. So if you can allow yourself to open rather than concave inwards, open yourself up, even just setting the intention, I allow myself to receive. I deserve to receive. I deserve to live a happy, joyful life full of bliss and love. I deserve to receive the want and will and desire of my soul, and that which it's wanting me to follow in a way, to be guided towards. So the intention is just how often, the invitation, I should say, is how often can you remind yourself to open up the petals of the flower and to set the intention to receive the messages, receive the light, receive the love, receive the gentleness, to see all that is around you, that is loving you and supporting you and holding you, even if you can't see it, sense it, or feel it, or imagine it in this moment, but that it's there. Can you have faith in what you cannot see? Can you have faith in what you do not know? Can you have faith that your soul will forever love and accept you as you are, that you don't need to be in a battle with it, with yourself? And if we stop being in battle with ourselves, we will stop being in battle with one another. And that's what's going to change the world. It has to come from us. When will we stop hating? So even in this moment, if I can just transmit that feeling of just love, it's a state of being. It's a feeling. It's not romantic love. It's not even love, as I said, that you have for a child or for a parent or for your partner. It's this love that is like honey. And it's the sweetest, gentlest, most fluid thing that you'll ever experience. And this is what we're remembering, because once we remember that, everything else, like the lights, turn back on. And everything changes. Our perspective changes, our state of being changes, our reality changes, our timeline shifts. What do you want to vision for yourself and for others and for this planet? We're at the choice point. Do you choose love or fear? Faith or fear? And I know it's not easy, but love can also love fear. Right? Fear has a hard time connecting to love sometimes, but love can always love fear because it loves all, and it's the ultimate alchemist of all things. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't even know if this is recording, so I'm going to leave it at that. Just know that you're not alone. Remember, remember, remember who you truly are. You will know it when you tap into the feeling, and it's in you. It's nothing that you need to seek out there for. You just have to allow yourself to be open enough to receive it again. And when you remember, I want to say all will become clear, but it's not in our logical, rational way, but all will become clear as to the imprint and the signature and the essence of who you truly are. And when you remember that, you will never be lost or homeless again. That's it. As always, take it or leave it as feels right for you, and loving you from afar. Bye. Thank you for being here with me. You've been listening to Raw Conversations with Corinne Bloom. Thanks so much for showing up, listening in, and being a part of the conversation with me.